Hey guys, so this time we are going through material that is from the second target. I can calculate circumference and area of circles. So here are our success criteria this time, and I know this is from chapter 11, but it was still about circles, so it fits right in here with chapter 10 really well. So let's get started talking about and reviewing circumference, because it should be something you're semi-familiar with already. So remember that circumference just means the distance around a circle. So the formula for circumference is c is equal to pi times the diameter, or if you remember that diameter is 2 times the radius, then we could also say that circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius, where d is diameter and r is the radius of the circle. So to calculate the circumference, we basically just need to plug in the information we have, and whichever formula we'll use just depends on what information we are given. So let's check out this example with A and B here. Alright, part A, we're looking for the circumference of a circle with a radius of 9 centimeters. So remember that you can use, it's pi times the diameter, so you can go a couple ways with this. You can just multiply that radius by 2, and you get the diameter is 18 centimeters, and then multiply that by pi, or you can plug it into the circumference formula there. So circumference is equal to 2 times the radius of 9 times pi, and that would give me 18 pi centimeters. Now it's worth noting that 18 pi centimeters is the exact circumference of that. So if it says exact circumference, or if it said something like leave your answer in terms of pi, this would be the answer that we would use. Now it may have you do something like round to the nearest tenth, and when you are multiplying something, or dividing something, or calculating something with pi, it's generally a good idea to use the pi button in your calculator unless it specifically says to use 3.14. And the reason for that is that when you use 3.14, you're losing some of the value. So I'll show you in the calculator. Most calculators have a pi button. So on my calculator, so you can see that if I do 18, and you can just type 18 pi, or you could type 18 times pi, and for me I have to do second that to get pi, I get 56.54, so about 56.55. If I just do 18 times 3.14, I get 56.52. So it's not a drastic difference, but I did lose 0.03 in my answer there. So unless it specifically says use 3.14 for pi, I would use the pi button to get a bit of a better answer there. So we got our approximate answer here, rounding to the nearest tenth, was 56.55 centimeters. Remember, our answer should have units if we were given units in the problem. Let's look at example B then. This time we're not asked to find the circumference, so you want to make sure we know what we're asked. We want to find the radius. So I can still use the formula to do that, and if I want to find the radius, I would use the one that has r for the radius. So I know circumference is equal to 2 pi times radius, or 2 times radius times pi, and it tells me that the circumference is 26 meters. So I can plug that in for the circumference. So I know that 26 is equal to 2 pi times radius. Now all I have to do is to get radius by itself. So I would divide both sides by 2 pi. That cancels out. Divide by 2 pi. And I would always recommend getting your exact answer first, and then once you have your exact answer, you can put it in a calculator to get your approximate answer. So you could simplify this actually. 26 divided by 2 would be 13. So my exact answer for this radius would be 13 over pi meters. And if I wanted to get an approximate answer, and we'll go to the nearest tenth, I would put in my calculator 13 divided by pi, and again use the pi button, and we get 4.138, so that would round to about 4.14 meters. And we'll go through the next couple problems in a minute, but this might be a good chance to pause it and give them a try for yourself before we go over them. Alright, let's check number 1. So we want to find the circumference of a circle with a diameter of 5 inches. So the circumference should just be diameter times pi. So the exact answers are actually really nice. They look nice and clean, they're not a bunch of decimals, so the exact circumference would be 5 pi inches, or we can put it in our calculator to get the approximate answer. So if I multiply 5 times pi, I get 15.707, so that would round to about 15.71 inches. Then for number 2, I'm looking for the diameter this time of a circle with a circumference of 17 feet. So the circumference, 17, should be equal to the diameter times pi. So in order to get the diameter by itself, I would divide both sides by pi. So my exact diameter would be 17 over pi feet, or if I put that in my calculator, 17 divided by pi, it rounds to about 5.41 feet. So don't forget your units there. Alright, last one. Let's look at number 3 now. So the dimensions of the car tire are shown. To the nearest foot, how far does the tire travel when it makes 15 revolutions? So we would need to know how far it traveled in 1 revolution, which would be the circumference. Distance around the circle there once. So let's add these up to get the total diameter there. So that would give me 15 plus 5.5 plus 5.5 is 26 inches. So this diameter is 26 inches. And now we can use that to calculate the circumference, which would be just diameter times pi. So it's 26 pi inches. But remember, that's not what the question was asking us for. We want to know how far it travels in 15 revolutions. And again, I would save your rounding until your very last step. So I take the circumference, that's 1 revolution, and I multiply that by 15 to see how far it would go in that many revolutions. So my exact answer for that is 390 pi feet. It doesn't want the exact answer though. It tells us to the nearest foot. So we would put this in our calculator and do 390 times pi gives us 1225.22. So to the nearest foot, this gives us about 1225 feet. Alright, good. So we'll stop this one here, and then we will go on to talk about arc length in the next one.